Hello and welcome back. So in today's video, we are going to be starting with a short clip from BBC News about basically the highlights of the Joe Biden and Donald Trump presidential debate from last night. Take a look.
I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
God, and he's a fool on this.
If you were a senator, and
You're
by
the
way,
worst
you were
president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe. I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe.
A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker.
So,
Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
Under this president, we become weaker, sicker, poorer, more divided, and more violent.
Our country is coming back incredibly well, setting records as it does it. We don't need somebody to come in and say, let's shut it down. Well, he wants to shut down this country. He will destroy this country, and I want to keep it open. And we did a great thing by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
would you answer that
because
question?
the question
You want to put a lot
is
of
the
new
question
Supreme Court
is
justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you
Who
shut
is your,
up, man?
Listen, you just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan
Folks,
absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you have
to,
any
and under that
idea
plan,
what
you have
this clown's
socialized
doing? You picked
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy, the wrong
Go,
night
Joe.
at the wrong time. I know how to get the job
Well, you
done.
didn't do very well in swine flu. H1N1, you were a disaster. Your own chief of staff said you were a disaster.
14,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no
very-
economic recession.
Sir, you made a
There was-
far
there
less
was no
lethal
recession.
disease,
you made a
by the way.
point. Let him
And there-
answer.
and there-
Sir,
With $1 billion, if you don't
That
get rid of
is
the
absolutely
you know what, you're
not
stop.
You're on
true.
tape doing it.
You're going to
You're on
have
tape.
True.
Gentlemen.
Is-
I hate to raise
Chris,
my voice,
he's
but
on
it seems
tape.
to be. Why shouldn't I be different than the two of you?
So I hope that clip was informative. So the presidential debate with Trump and Biden trade insults in chaotic debate. President Donald Trump and his challenger Joe Biden have fiercely clashed in one of the most chaotic and bitter White House debates in years. Mr. Trump frequently interrupted, prompting Mr. Biden to tell him to shut up as the two fought over the pandemic, healthcare and the economy. The US president was challenged over white supremacist support and refused to condemn a specific far-right group. Opinion polls suggest Mr. Biden had a steady single-digital lead over Mr. Trump. But with 35 days until Election Day, surveys from several important states show a closer contest. Polls also suggest 1 in 10 Americans have yet to make up their minds on how to vote. But analysts said Tuesday night's debate, the first of the three, probably would not make much of a difference. So what were the key moments? Overall, the 90-minute debate in Cleveland, Ohio was light on a serious policy discussion. Both candidates talked over each other, but Mr. Trump cut in 73 times, according to a count by CBS News. The tenor became clear early on as the two candidates sparred over healthcare. Hectoring from Mr. Trump saw Mr. Biden call the president a clown. As they moved on to the Supreme Court, the rancor continued, with Mr. Biden refusing to answer when asked if he would try to extend the number of judges. "Will you shut up, man?" the Democrat candidate snapped at Mr. Trump, later adding, "Keep yapping, man." Mr. Trump, the Republican candidate seeking a second term, responded, "The people understand, Joe. 47 years in politics, you've done nothing. They understand." In one of the most talked about exchanges of the night, the president was asked by the moderator, Fox News anchor Chris Wallace, if he was prepared to condemn white supremacists. He initially said that he would, but when asked to announce the far-right Proud Boys group by name, he sidestepped. Mr. Trump said, "Proud Boys, stand back and stand by, but I'll tell you what, somebody's got to do something about that Antifa and the left." The Proud Boys, an anti-immigrant all-male group, took to social media to celebrate. "Standing down and standing by, sir," it posted on Telegram. Antifa, short for anti-fascist, is a loose affiliation of a far-left activists that often clash with the far-right at Stead Street protests. Earlier, Mr. Biden said, "This is a president who has used everything as a dog whistle to try to generate racist hatred racist hatred, racist division. In other moments, Mr. Trump was asked if he would encourage his supporters to be peaceful if the results of the election were unclear. "I'm encouraging my supporters to go into the poll and watch very carefully," he responded. When Mr. Trump said Mr. Biden would be at the behest of the left of the Democratic Party over health and environmental policy, Mr. Biden responded, "I'm a Democratic Party right now." Mr. Trump defended his effort to swiftly fill a US Supreme Court to cement a 6-3 conservative majority on the bench, saying, "We won the election and we have the right to do it." The president brought up the past drug use of Mr. Biden's son, Hunter, who was discharged from the Navy in 2014 for taking cocaine. Shouting over Mr. Trump, Mr. Biden said, "My son, like a lot of people you know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it, and he's fixed it." So, here's the debate in numbers. I'll put up a photo for you now. So, as you can see, is the debate in numbers, as you can see on the photo. So, there were 73 times in which Trump interrupted Biden. 43 minutes was the total amount of time that Biden spoke for, compared to 38 minutes for the President Trump, and 20 minutes were spent discussing coronavirus, which is the longest segment. What did they say about coronavirus? Mr. Biden said Trump had panicked over the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more than 200,000 Americans. "A lot of people died, and a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter, a lot quicker," Mr. Biden said. Mr. Trump objected to Mr. Biden using the word smart. "You graduated either lowest or almost the lowest in your class," the president said. "Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word." Local rules required everyone in the room to wear masks, but of the president's family members present, only US First Lady Melania Trump donned a face covering during the debate. Due to the pandemic, the forum at Case Western Reserve University had a small, socially distanced audience, and the traditional opening handshake was skipped. So, who won the debate? In a debate that was the political equivalent of a food fight, the winner is the man who emerged least covered in slop. On a Tuesday night, this man was Joe Biden. If only because his main goal was to prove to Americans that he could hold up under pressure, that he had not lost a step due to his advancing age, he had to show he could take a pie in the face, metaphorically speaking, and keep his cool. He mostly met the standard, and although it was at least in part because Donald Trump, by his constant hectoring and interruptions, seldom gave the former vice president a chance to say something truly damaging to his own cause. Twitter Trump, the unconventional, bombastic, insulting, and rumor-mongering aspect of the president, was on full display during the hour-and-a-half event. Unfortunately for the president, many Americans, even his own supporters, find his social media persona one of his most unattractive attributes. Trump needed this debate to shake up a race that is tilting against him. Biden's lead has remained stable throughout turmoil on the streets and in the economy and the COVID crisis. Nothing about this hour-and-a-half free-for-all seems likely to alter the dynamics of the contest or change the minds of 1 in 10 American voters who say they're still undecided, or perhaps they'll resolve never to watch another one of these. Anything resembling a substantive exchange was buried in a culture of oblivion and bickering, and because of this, it was a missed opportunity for the president. What's the reaction? As is normal after a presidential debate, both the Trump and Biden camps have been claiming victory for their candidate. President Trump has just turned in the greatest debate performance in presidential history, displaying a command of the facts and control of conversation, said Trump 2020 campaign manager Bill Stephen in a statement. And the former New Jersey governor, Chris Christie, who helped serve on the president's debate prep team, criticized Joe Biden's performance, but also suggested the president had been overly aggressive or too hot. "With all that heat, you can lose the light," he said. "That potentially can be fixed. Maybe, maybe not." Mr. Biden's running mate, vice presidential candidate Senator Kamala Harris tweeted, "We are in the battle for the soul of our nation, and the choice in this election was made crystal clear during tonight's debate." She added, "America was presented with a choice, a leader who offers a clear path versus an angry, interrupting bully." A Snap viewer poll by BBC News' US partner, named Joe Biden winner, with 48% backing him compared with 41% for Mr. Trump. debate moderator and Fox News anchor Chris Wallace struggled to keep order, but many commentators and newspapers said the real loser was the American people. On the front page of its late edition, the New York Times said Trump's heckles had sent the debate into utter chaos. CNN gave a similarly withering assessment, summarizing the event as an absolutely awful debate. It was, in a word, horrendous. CNN editor-at-large Chris Klizzo wrote, "The Wall Street Journal described the debate as a conscientious and depressing spectacle that had been marked by interruptions and insults." So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, please do leave a like and subscribe, and put any questions you may have in the comments.